Hey everyone, Lou Lombardi here, aka Loudini from the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, to tell you about our brand new sponsor, McNeely Beer, 6-packs and more, located at 441 McNeely Road in the South Hills.
Lou. Hey Lou, what's up?
Hey, Pittsburgh Kevin, what's going on, man?
Hey, McNeely Beer, 6-pack and more is right down the street from where I grew up. I go there all the time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, listen to this, man. McNeely Beer carries about 700 beer varieties in singles, 6-packs, or 12-packs. They offer imports, crafts, domestics, even drafts. You can grab a gourmet hot dog, catch a game on the TV, create your own mix and match 6-pack, or just grab what you need and go.
You know, I hear that mix and match 6-pack is really cool because you get 20% off when you do that, and it's a great way to try something new without investing in an entire case. You know what I mean? So, and the knowledgeable staff will actually help you pick out your selections. McNeely is open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to midnight. Fridays and Saturdays until 2 a.m. And even with this crazy snow we just had, spring beers are already arriving, so you want to be sure to get your seasonal selections before they're gone.
Definitely.
That's McNeely Beer, 6-packs and more, located at 441 McNeely Road in the South Hills, and you can check them out online at McNeelyBeer.com.
Yeah.
This is Kat Downs from Sit Kitty Sit.
This is Mike Thompson from Circus, and you're listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to yet another interview here at the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. If you like the music that you're hearing on our music cast and you like the interviews, please check out LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. My name is Lou Lombardi, a.k.a. Loudini, and we put out a new interview with an amazing artist every Wednesday. So keep checking that website where you can see all the listen to all the great interviews we've been doing. Some of these artists are very unique. It's a lot of stuff you're not really going to hear. It's not the kind of thing you're going to hear on American Idol or The Voice. This is really cutting edge stuff. This is stuff that's ahead of its time and gets you on the cutting edge of what's happening in the music business at the street level. Like to thank our sponsors real quick before we get started here today. Positively Pittsburgh Live Magazine, that is pplmag.com, Pittsburgh's first internet radio, TV network, online community magazine, and Business Directory. Go to pplmag.com. And if you are in the Pittsburgh area and you are thirsty, you want to try McNeely Beer. Okay, they've got a great selection of craft beers, and you can find McNeely Beer at 441 McNeely Road, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Give them a call at 412-563-2337 or visit them online at McNeelyBeer.com. Now, the band that we've got here on the line with us today is they've got just a very cool sound, and they are really kind of pushing the boundaries here. They describe their sound as hard piano rock. San Francisco-based hard piano rock duo Sit Kitty Sit is with us today. Pretty girl in a cocktail dress and a handsome guy in black jeans. What's not to love, right? Simple, unassuming, armed only with piano and drums, this fiery team lets loose an expertly manipulated balance of blow your mind power rock and virtue. Oh, my goodness, you guys put big words in your description here. Virtuosic intricacy that leaves audiences screaming and trying to figure out how to read your bio. On the line, I've got Kat Downs and Mike Thompson of Sit Kitty Sit, and we're going to go over the whole thing in case that bio there confused you. Guys, welcome to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Yes, thanks for having us on.
Okay. All right. So, how did the band get started? And we could start. Kat, you can give us your version. And then, Mike, you can kind of chime in.
Well, basically, it was supposed to be a one-off. I was working on a solo record, and I wanted to experiment with combining rock drumming with a classical piece that was actually more kind of along the style of Rachmaninoff. Mm-hmm. And the drummer I had canceled on me, and a mutual acquaintance of mine and Mike's actually suggested that I call him and ask him to fill in. So he came and did it, and it was just supposed to be a one-time thing, and it went so well that we were both just kind of like eyeballing each other. It's like, okay, that was cool, I guess, And then a couple months later, I asked him if he wanted to try working on some more stuff.
When you said it was supposed to be a one-off thing, was it like a recording, or was it a show, or what was this one-off thing?
It was a recording. It was a solo record that I was working on. That was
okay.
Like
I got you.
A totally like overly brainy concept record that I got actually. So we got so caught up in working on some pieces that I still haven't finished it.
And who's chiming in the background there?
Oh, sorry, that's my dog, Bodie. He wants to be in the interview, too.
Okay, that's all right. So Mike, you find out about this cool project. What intrigued you about it?
Yeah, we had. I met her through the band that I was in at the time. It was a different rock band, full piece, kind of guitar, bass, drums, vocals and stuff. And we were recording an album at the time, and one of the tracks we had called for some keyboards on it. And the singer, New Cat, previously through other ventures and whatnot, and called her up to come and record for us, which is how I met her. She came in, totally knocked it out. We got along. It was great. Everything happened, as it was. And then a couple months later, the guy that she, had scheduled couldn't make it, and so she was talking to my friend, the singer, who was like, "Well, why don't you call Mike up?" And so she's like, "Oh, all right, can you play hard thrash drumming?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think you got that covered."
Well, I didn't know him at the time.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So I mean, she only knew about, what we were playing in the studio and whatnot. It was definitely different than what we're doing now. But and I said, "Yeah, of course I'll." And she came and helped us out in a pinch, and I returned the favor, and then that was that. And so when she sent me the track, I was like, "Well, this is really, really, really cool." And being only piano and drums is just there's so much space left open for me to explore and do different things, more so than other projects that I had been previously involved with, which were more kind of straight ahead rock, So I immediately got on board with it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll definitely come in and help you out and see where it takes us."
Mike,
then,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to ask you a question about it. Go ahead. What is it? So, being a drummer, you always hear about like the drummer and the bass player, got to be like locked in. So now there's, I know, not necessarily a bass player other than the bass being played on the piano. I mean, what is that like for you? And could you, you said it gives you, it opens things up, but could you describe that a little bit more?
Well, Kat's left hand is better than most of the bass players I've played with.
Okay.
Yeah. She is a very percussive player already by nature, which is very conducive to the rhythm section and the drummer. And so it really didn't. It was different for me, but I didn't really feel like I was missing anything.
Okay.
Or such a huge bottom end, especially with the kind of stuff that she plays. So it wasn't a huge leap for me to lock in with her, and we just got it right away. It just clicked, and in terms of space and explaining stuff, it's really mainly just having one other person, as opposed to like three other guys in the band where you kind of have to all find, lock in with everybody. It's easier to just find, lock in with one other person and find a group with one other person than it is with two or three other people at once, So, but at the same time, it leaves a lot of open space, to fill.
Okay, so you guys, it's piano and drums. That's the heart of it. And I know on your new record that you work with some other musicians. You take turns. Kat, let's go back to you for now. Can you describe the sound of what you guys are doing?
Well, we call it hard piano rock because that gives the best visual for what it is. The piano, I've been classically trained since I was 6, and you can't hide it. Like, that shows through just immediately when you hear the music. So it's really like Beethoven-style piano mixed with, like, complex rock drumming. Because Mike comes up with really great stuff. He actually, he doesn't just, stick with, like, the regular beat or the regular drive the way a lot of drummers do. He also, he'll zone in on what the vocal line is doing also, and almost treat the voice like a separate instrument. And because we tend to do things, once a song settles in, we kind of end up playing it the same for a while. I mean, they all slowly evolve over time, of course, but so he'll actually be playing off like the tiny little inflections I'll do with my voice, which brings the songs to like this whole other level, which is really, it's yummy.
That's the technical description, by the way. It's yummy.
Yes, that is that.
It's yummy.
What, like, okay, so you're classically trained, but you obviously have roots in pop and rock music. What are some of your influences?
Actually, it's funny. I don't.
You don't? Okay.
No, I didn't start playing rock music at all until I was already in my 20s. I was classically trained from the beginning all the way through. So
why did you want to play? Then why did you want to play rock? What about it attracted you?
It was weird. Like basically, it wasn't something I picked. When I moved to California, I decided that I had just started learning to write music. Like basically when you're playing classical music, you're trained to study and interpret what the composer was doing, and your job as the musician is to try and get that as perfect as possible. So I was just branching into songwriting at all myself when I first moved to California, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to try this, and see what happens. So I started out as like a singer-songwriter that you see in like coffee shops, like that was what I used to do. And then as I was doing that, and I was, playing shows and meeting other singer-songwriters and whatever, I was just kind of open to whatever popped up. So if someone's like, oh, I need someone to fill in for this one recording, do you want to do it? I basically always said yes. Like whatever came up, I just said yes. And so I went from being a folk singer to being in a theatrical heavy metal band.
Okay.
Really quickly, that happened. And then I toured with those guys for a while, and like it was crazy. Like the lead singers, blew fire, and there was stage blood everywhere, and it was awesome. And then from there, I ended up joining a cover band because I just wanted to learn like more about rock music and stuff. So I figured that was a safe way to go, and we started writing our own music after that. And it just sort of it just kind of evolved that way. Like it wasn't like I'm going to be a rock musician. Like that never happened. But now that I am one, I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I've been uncomfortable my whole life. I've been meant to be doing this.
But you feel very okay. I got you. So this is where you sort of settled into, and you really kind of feel like this resonates with you in terms of your classical training and in terms of like kind of who you are as a person.
Oh God, yeah. It was one of those things. I actually think I was like talking to Michael, and I'm like, oh, I'm a rocker chick, and he's like, that took you long enough to figure out. Good Lord.
So what about you, Mike? What about you? Because you've been in other bands and stuff, and you've definitely come out of the rock tradition.
Right.
Who are some of your influences?
When growing up, my dad is also a drummer, and a cousin of mine is, and my great uncle's a drummer. Drums are kind of in the family. And when I was growing up, when I started playing, it was around 10. My dad had a band of his own, and they would rehearse at the house. And so I was kind of, and it was, classic rock, blues band, total 70s stuff. And so I was kind of born into that and just always surrounded by it. And I really, he was always just blasting like, 60s, 70s rockers, all the music from those eras. And that's kind of just what that's all I listened to. So, I mean, I draw influences from so many people from, the late 60s and into the 70s. Prog rock, blues, I mean, geez, you name it, honestly, and, we listen to it. It's part of my upbringing and tutelage. And then, and as the 80s came, I started getting into more like metal, and, just more of the hard rock of that era as well. My dad, not so much. He's kind of stuck, back, in his generation, in his era.
Right.
But by the time, I was really into getting lessons and really just getting going, I was getting into the more modern, hard rock and metal of the 80s and then 90s grunge and all that stuff like that. But I still kept, my roots, still discovering bands from back in the day and everything like that. So, I mean, it was just really all rock all the time. I never really dove into like jazz or any kind of Latin influenced stuff until I got to college. And then that's when it really kind of just did a flip-flop. And I really didn't play much rock at all in college except for a couple bands that I was in. But, in terms of studying in school and stuff like that, it was mainly jazz and Latin influenced stuff.
So you went to university for music?
Yeah, I went to Berkeley College of Music in Boston.
Oh, wow, cool. I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, which was just a ridiculously fantastic experience. Humbling and very eye-opening.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So classical, and I would listen to classical music. It's not like I didn't listen to it, but I was
right, of course,
classically, and I wasn't popping in symphonies every day, all little pieces and stuff. But it was definitely stuff I liked and would listen to occasionally. And obviously in college, I definitely studied some of that too and listened to it. So yeah, that's it.
You guys got together like around 2010, right? 2010, 2011, something like that.
2010, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So according to what I'm reading here, you guys been on the road for a few years now.
Yeah, going on 4 now.
Okay,
yeah,
so what is the? So you guys like to play live, obviously. What's your favorite part of touring, Kat?
Oh man, my favorite part of touring, besides like just being able to connect with people, is I love I'm a road tripper. I love being on road trips. So driving in the middle of the night with like tunes cranked and the windows rolled down is kind of like my happy place.
Okay.
So, yeah, so like that.
Perfect lifestyle for you.
Yeah. But yeah, honestly, like what I really love, and especially now that we got back from Europe, it just kind of solidifies that music is really an international language, and people don't even necessarily have to understand the lyrics or anything for you to really be able to connect with them, and that part was very eye-opening to me. I remember our first shows away from the Bay Area. We played in Reno and like kind of the surrounding areas of Reno. And from the get-go, like just, being introduced into a whole new environment with a whole, different kind of people and how strongly people reacted, like it was really mind-blowing for us. And it was very humbling and very eye-opening all at the same time.
What about you, Mike? What's your favorite part about touring? Or what's your least favorite part about touring?
We get that, I would say, we were, before going out ever, we had no idea how people were going to, respond to us or if, we could get bottles thrown at us or whatever. But it ended up being, super, super positive. And really, my favorite thing is honestly, two things. One, obviously meeting new bands, hearing new music, and expanding our network, in the community and then meeting fans, of course, playing new clubs, it's really great. But also going back to some cities that we've hit a few times now and seeing, how much, our fan base and family has grown. We're all family now, it's like once somebody becomes an ex-Kiss fan, they're family. So it's seeing them, whether it's, once or twice a year, it's just always a major party, major reunion. And so it's, that times however many weeks we're on tour, a month, 5 weeks, it's 5 weeks worth of reunions and partying, it's great, and just being able to catch up and have them kind of, say that, they've been following us online and being able to talk about, what we've been doing and us being able to tell them the stories, from the road in other cities, other countries. It's just fun, and every single time we meet new people, and the family grows, and it's great. It's really great.
Now let's talk a little bit about shift gears. Let's talk about the recording. Mm-hmm. You guys have your latest record is Everlasting Fire. When did that come out?
2014.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
All right. So it's not like brand new.
No, it's not.
But it's just your latest record. Okay. Are you guys working on a new record?
We're doing a series of singles and videos this year because we're going to be touring a lot, and that makes it kind of hard for us to sit down and do a full-length record. So I'm kind of working on a big one for 2017.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Everlasting Fire. Now, in what is this? So your third record, fourth record?
Yep.
What is it?
Third record. Yeah, third.
Okay, and this is a concept album. Tell us a little bit about the concept and why you decided to do that.
Well, it tells the story of Dante's Inferno, which is an epic poem, a 14th century epic poem written by an Italian man. I studied Dante in college. I did a semester on, basically there's 3 books. It's the Infernos first, and then Purgatorio, and then Paradiso. So Dante goes on a journey with Virgil. Virgil is his guide, and they do a tour of hell, a tour of purgatory, and a tour of heaven. And that's basically what the 3 books are. The Inferno is the most popular because it's just really gruesome and dark and twisty and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And
gruesome, dark, and awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were reading it and studying it in class, I was like, man, this would be an amazing record. But the funny part was I didn't even write music then. Like the only songs that I'd ever written were compositions that were required for my classes. Like, and those none of those had lyrics or anything. You know, like they were all just like classical compositions.
Okay.
But I remember thinking that, and then flash forward 17 lifetimes later for me apparently, and we were tossing around the idea of having a record based on the 7 deadly sins. And there are a lot of references to the 7 deadly sins in Dante. And I was kind of, journaling about it and trying to come up with some ideas and stuff. And I was like, oh, right. Like, why don't we go one step further and do the whole Inferno, which is a huge undertaking, but oh my God, would that be fun? And Mike was like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. So,
that's the great thing
how
about
it happened.
The great thing about having just 2 people in the band is, like, you only got to get one other person's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really.
This is like a 6-piece band, you might still be talking about, we should do that record based on Dante's Inferno.
2 years later, we still be talking about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kat.
I'm
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, you were on a roll there. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's always on a roll.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah,
I
love this 7 deadly sins idea. I thought it was great. I thought it was like super cool, and it was it was we had it in the works, and then it's like, let's just do the whole Dante thing, and then that started. Because I don't even think when we were doing the 7 sins concept were we talking about guest musicians, were we?
We were talking about what part?
Guest musicians?
Yeah,
no, we weren't.
You have guests.
Yeah.
Now, did you have guests on your previous records or no?
No.
Okay, so this is new territory for you guys.
Yeah.
Bring some other people into the sort of life that's very close-knit. So how was that, and how did you pick who you wanted to work with?
It was difficult. I mean, we have so many friends that are such amazing players. I mean, it's just most of them were just who was closest, most convenient, available. Some people were picked specifically for being them. Others picked through referrals of friends who couldn't possibly maybe do it, and then they're like, well, why don't you try this person? And I'm like, okay, cool. But everybody just absolutely killed it and totally knocked it out of the park. And honestly, we could not be happier about it. But yeah, we had no plan to do that for the 7 Sins album. And then once this thing came to play the Dante thing, it was like, man, we have to. Did we decide to like change the genre per circle of hell? Yeah, I don't. Or did it kind of just end that way?
It just kind of ended up that way, and when I realized it was going that way, that was when the conversations started happening. It's like, oh, I'm trying to write these songs, and they're ending up not being as kind of quote-unquote kitty sit-ish as usual because the genres are branching out.
Right.
And then we were like, yeah, just let the song tell the story instead of forcing the story into a certain shape. Like, just let the story tell its own story, and that's how it ended up with seven genres, I think, or something.
Well, how does this work? Because, like, it's one thing to sit down and say, oh, man, I'm thinking about, or I'm playing a piece on the piano, and, you start to get an idea for lyrics, or you go back to a notebook or something. But when you decide, I'm going to write a song based, or I'm going to, not just a song, but an entire album based on this concept, I mean, how do you do that and not feel like you're trying to crowbar in lyrics and ideas and stuff like that? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure, I can try. For me, it was kind of a combination of things. So I broke it down. I decided to approach it from the standpoint of circles. So every circle of hell is like a new layer. It's got a new sin associated with it, and there is like new punishments there.
Right.
So that was how I decided to approach it, as in like a shape, right? So I would sort of look at, and I didn't do them in any order. That was the other thing. It's like I would kind of open up. I was keeping everything like in one place, like all my research. I had gotten a really great, I'd gotten 2 really great translations of it that I was using. That I was, I probably read that thing like 15 times during the making of this. And I would kind of like, okay, I would pick a layer or a circle, and I'd be like, okay, it's like we're gonna do heretics. Okay, well, what are heretics? And I would research the background of what that meant, and why it was bad, and blah blah blah. And then I would just kind of like anything that sort of popped up. I had a piece of paper kind of sitting off to the side, and anything that kind of popped up, I would just jot it down. And that's sort of how my brain tends to work when I'm creating things. Like sometimes, like literally one sentence that I consider a beautiful lyric will pop into my head, and a whole song will be born off of that. Like It's just, yeah. So that's kind of how I treated it, since I was writing for something specific. But I actually I love being given limitations when I'm trying to write stuff. So that for me was just crazy fun.
Okay.
Like crazy fun. Yeah.
And Mike, like, how did you approach this as well? Because, I mean, is she putting everything together, and then you just come in and add, work with the drums, or you guys sort of, or does she present ideas and you kind of like give feedback? Like, how do you guys write?
Well, the lyrics are all her. I mean, brilliant lyrics. Always love them. Everybody should read them. Anyways, in terms of music, she'll basically hobble together an idea, one piece of music, not necessarily broken down into sections or any certain length of time or anything, but she'll basically give me the basic parts, and then I'll just kind of futz with it, and we'll just kind of play them together, and then as we meld the 2 instruments together, the form actually sort of takes shape then, in terms of like, well, we need an extra section here, or we need to cut this down a little bit, or lengthen this part, or all the dynamics, or maybe a time change and stuff like that. So, that's pretty much our formula. I mean, she'll come up with the basic skeleton of it, and then bring in the idea, and then we just kind of mold it and play around with it until it sounds like us. And kick ass.
Let's shift gears again. Tell me about, you guys have been working at the NAMM shows in 2015 and 2016. Tell the kids at home who don't know what NAMM is, and tell us a little bit about your experience there.
So NAMM is, and correct me if I'm wrong, the National Association of Musical Merchants. I think that's how they word it.
Okay.
Basically, it is a giant convention where every single brand of any kind of musical instrument, sheet music, anything.
Accessories,
right. Yeah,
right.
anything. They are
software.
all there. Yeah. It's one giant trade show floor. It also has to do with sound equipment, everything from like speakers you'd buy to put in your house to stuff you set up in an arena.
And where's it located? Where
it's usually the new line, the year's new line of stuff that these people are putting out. So they'll have their full line, but it's really a place to showcase the new stuff that's coming out for them.
And where is it held? Where is it held?
Anaheim.
Anaheim. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So basically,
Killer, we kind of signed on to represent Killer Q guitar straps and instrument cables, instrument straps and stuff, based in Eugene, Oregon. Which we get asked a lot, like, how the hell are you guys sponsored by a strap company?
Yes.
Guitars or anything?
We are. We're sponsored by a strap company, and they're amazing. And we love them.
Yeah.
It's such a great strap. You can hold it holds a grand piano around your neck, right?
It actually probably could.
Oh man. Well, Kat, you want to tell them how?
Absolutely. So basically, we fly a lot, and I have one particular keyboard that I use when I fly because of weight restrictions. And anytime you put a large instrument like that through the baggage claim, they have to open it for security reasons. And I know that because they leave a little happy slip of paper in there for me, letting me know that they were digging through my stuff. And they cannot reclose case hooks to save their lives. So I asked Killer Q if they would make me some straps to put around the outside of my keyboard. So they made 3 custom straps for me that are amazing. They've got our skull logo and our name all over them. And they hold my case shut, so when it comes through on the conveyor belt at the airport, when every single clasp is wide open, it's the only thing holding the case.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a little scary. They also make a product called a groupie, which is basically it's a cord. It's a cord binder that actually will fit onto your cable and wrap around. The difference is it's not made with Velcro, and I know that Chad told me what it's called, and I'm going to forget. But basically, it doesn't collect lint or hair or anything else, and it'll even work when it's wet. So it's great. And you basically can wind up your cords really fast and wrap them up.
What's the name? Say the name of the company again, so folks can hear it. What it is?
Killer Q instrument straps.
Killer
Q.
Killer,
and then one giant Q. The letter Q.
And you guys were able to actually perform at the NAMM show 2015 and 2016, representing your relationship with Killer Q.
Yeah, we would perform at their booth. So we basically just bring a tiny little setup. I'll play like a hand drum, like a djembe, or a tiny little kit, like a kick, snare, hi-hat kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I have a strap they made me a custom strap for my stick bag. And they also have a strap made for a djembe, or a conga to hold around your shoulders and your neck, so you can stand up and hold it and play. So that was also a custom strap. So the idea is that you're demoing the product, from the booth.
Right.
So we would play a song. So Kat would have her straps all laid out on her keyboard, and the groupie strap for her cable, and I would have the a hand drum with the custom strap around my shoulder. And that's the demo, it's just showing off kind of what it does, play a song, talk about it a little, and then we can go mingle around the show and then come back and kind of do another demo. So we just kind of do demos throughout the day.
Okay, so other than playing it now, typically, what can people expect from a kitty sit show?
Bring your plugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, one of my favorite parts, and it doesn't happen as much anymore. We're very blessed. Now, most of the time when we go into a place, they kind of know it's coming. But when we first got started, I enjoyed it so much when we would set up and people would see the drums and the piano, and they would say to themselves, "Oh, this is going to be lovely and delightful," and they're expecting something really singer-songwriter-ish and kind of and beautiful. And then we would probably just blow the faces right off of their skull. It's just because it's basically just like a giant explosion of beautiful music. The piano parts are really intricate, which you don't expect anymore. The drum parts are really intricate, which people don't expect anymore. But we also do it crazy loud and crazy fast all at the same time.
Mike?
Indeed.
What's your take on it?
Yeah, that's pretty much my take. I mean, not to say that we don't play the dynamics or anything like that, because if we do, definitely. Unfortunately, we've been told a lot that our recorded songs, our records and stuff like that don't really translate to the live experience in terms of the energy and just the overall just force apparently that we have on stage, and play with. We get very into it, very animated, and we really try to capture that, on record, but it's really hard, when there's no crowd there.
Yeah.
But we're getting better at it in terms of, recording tricks and kind of making it sound a little more open, a little more atmosphere to it. But live, we just really just go straight for the throat.
Mike and I were basically both born to do exactly this thing, and you can't miss that. Like, it's just it for some reason when we play, it's just magic, and that's what people are really drawn to. That's what they tell us after the show. That's why everywhere we go, we leave a trail of family behind us, which we love. It's been really just it's just been an amazingly humbling and beautiful experience because, we get up there and go into our little cloud. Like, we usually, both of us mostly play with our eyes closed or pretty close, we're in our little bubble doing our thing. And when we finish being in our bubble, people clap and scream and throw things at us, and it's awesome.
And buy us lots of whiskey, which we always do.
And they buy us lots of whiskey, yes, they do.
Cool. Whiskey's a good thing. So what is coming up next in the next 6 to 12 months for Sit Kitty Sit?
March.
We are, March. This month, we'll be releasing our newest single called Blood and Bones through Universal Music Group, which is pretty awesome step for us. We're very proud of. Through actually a label that we work with called Sleepless Music Group, who is a distributor for Universal Music Group. So we're working with them, and it's going to be great. So that'll come out probably in the next couple of weeks or so. And then starting in March, we're doing a 5-week U.S. tour, down south and then through to South by Southwest. We'll be in Austin for that week. And then we continue on a little bit further on to New Orleans, and then kind of make our way back up through Nashville, Chicago, and then Kat's hometown of Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yep.
And then kind of make our way back here. So one big giant loop that way.
Yeah, like a big circle.
That'll be March 9th, I think.
All of that just in March.
March and April, half of April.
March and April, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it'll be March 9th through I think April 16th is the official date.
Cool.
Ending here with a show here, and then for the summer, we've got a couple things. Again, throughout the year we'll be releasing several singles and also music videos. But in terms of playing, the summer we'll probably do some shows regionally in the summer. Down SoCal and maybe back up northwest. And then in September, we're planning to do 2 to 3 weeks on the East Coast. And then from there, head back to Europe for 2 or 3 weeks in October. So that's kind of where we're at right now on February 1st, 2016.
It sounds like you got a very full schedule. You got a lot going on. Go ahead and tell the folks at home how they can keep in touch and find out everything that you're doing.
Oh, the best way is to go to our website, which is sitkittysit.com. There's always everything there, and you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and just about every other place in the world. So I would say the website's the best one because then you can sign up on the email list as well from there.
Cool. Can you guys stick around for a minute? I think I want to do I would like to do a bonus question with you guys. Once we're going to wrap up, and then what we have for our subscribers, we provide some bonus material.
Sure.
So can you guys stick around?
Fire away.
We're gonna officially sign off, but you guys stick around, and we're going to come back and do a bonus question or two. All right?
All right. Sounds good, man.
Hey guys, you've been listening to this really lively and fun animated conversation with Sit Kitty Sit, Kat and Mike. This turned out to be a really fun interview, and I'm really honored that they took some time out to talk with us today. You're on the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. That's LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. Once again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Positively Pittsburgh Live Magazine, pplmag.com, and Pittsburgh's own McNeely Beer. That's McNeelyBeer.com, 441 McNeely Road, Pittsburgh, PA. Guys, remember that every Wednesday there's a new interview, and every Saturday there's a new music podcast. Feel free to give us a shout-out on social media, and you can find me on Twitter at LLStrangelove. Once again, you've been listening to Sit Kitty Sit, and you can find them on the internet at sitkittysit.com. Thanks, guys, for listening so much, and we'll see you on the next podcast.
Really appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Thank you.